Pressure is building on the federal government to intervene in the ongoing industrial disputes between Qantas and its key unions, and things are sure to intensify tomorrow at the company's annual general meeting. The unions argue their demands are fair and affordable, but unsurprisingly, Qantas management disagrees. As for the innocent bystanders in all of this, well, that would be the 10,000 passengers expecting delays as a result. Greg Hoy reports.
Sadly, Australia's 90-year-old national carrier seems destined for a collision, an industrial collision, with terrible timing as the peak holiday period approaches.
Management have been intransigent. There's no change in their attitude at all. Their form of negotiating is to come in and say no.
This industrial action is clearly hurting Qantas and our brand.
Alan Joyce is under an enormous amount of pressure to perform, to get the share price up. The challenge that the airline faces is probably the greatest in its history because it faces an array of international airlines that have far lower costs than it does.
Though unions deny it, Qantas claims it's tried to negotiate, so brace for turbulence at tomorrow's annual general meeting. As pilots, engineers and ground staff protest, the TWU mounts further one-hour strikes, and shareholders are pressured to oppose the remuneration package for Chief Executive Alan Joyce, who earned a total $5 million last year while Qantas's share price languished.
It's a tough job out there. We're only on $20 an hour.
How'd school go today, Alana? Good.
Ramp worker Don DIXON and his family worry what lies ahead.
But I think there are plenty of ways to cut costs rather than what they're doing with their staff. I think the fact that management can be paid such high figures, no one begrudges you working hard and getting paid a good salary, but I think there maybe should be a limit.
The main thing's not pays. We're just worried about our future. We want Australian jobs to stay at Qantas. You know, we just want to have job security.
Alan Joyce and his management team are de-Australianising Qantas. They intend to expand into Asia and they intend to avoid all Australian workplace laws, superannuation requirements and the intent of Parliament to keep Qantas an Australian company.
On behalf of all Qantas pilots, we'd like to thank you for choosing to fly with Qantas. We're proud of our profession and our airline and trust you'll support us in keeping Qantas pilots in Qantas aircraft.
Fearing Qantas is plotting to gradually replace them with lower-paid pilots from affiliated airlines, the traditionally conservative Qantas pilots are about to decide if they should ramp up their campaign.
It is not out of the realm of possibilities. We're waiting to see how the shareholders judge the corporate performance at the AGM on Friday. Depending on what happens there, we'll re-look at our options and we will weigh up what we can do.
This is an issue for the future survival of Qantas, and the changes that we need to do and need to implement are for the long-term survival of the company, and nothing can be as more important than that.
The chief executive has kept a low profile prior to tomorrow's shareholder meeting, while it has announced plans to rationalise its loss-making international operations and to greatly expand in Asia. Qantas denies its scheming to offshore Australian jobs. But many airline and market analysts are brutally frank in their appraisal of Qantas's financial predicament.
The airlines that Qantas faces have labour costs that are up to 25% less. Unless Qantas can restructure dramatically, unless there's a significant change of heart by all the players, then its future has a serious question mark over it. There's a long list of airlines that have failed to change. Pan American, Trans World Airways, Ansett Airlines.
It made $500 million before tax, and it also has over $3 billion cash in the bank. So our position amongst world airlines is reasonably good.
That profit is about a 4% profit, nowhere near the 10% that really is required to have a return on investment.
That is a widely held market view, with Alan Joyce suggesting that shareholders might be better off to put their money in the bank. Qantas pilots, meantime, insist that they are not overpaid by world standards. While just about everyone agrees that the pilots and engineers are about the best in the world, Analysts counter that these days 75% of passengers are more interested in price than they are in safety records, which for Qantas's rivals are pretty good anyway. So with both sides digging in, the pressure is mounting on the federal government to intervene as the holidays are fast approaching, despite its obvious reluctance to do so.
Qantas put an offer on the table to its workforce to resolve the dispute. So my message remains to the parties: get round a table and get this fixed.
We won't give in because we feel that this will change the whole way that we're perceived in the workplace. So it's not an option to give in, but more than happy to negotiate.
I think there's going to be a serious deterioration. I think that the government must intervene here because I see that neither the pilots nor the engineers want to give ground in some critical areas. Qantas itself simply can't agree because it would make it even more uncompetitive. Therefore, the government must move in to break this deadlock.
Otherwise, many argue it won't be a very Merry Christmas at all for Australia's airborne holidaymakers.
That report from Greg Hoy.